do you see? What do you feel? Feel this moment.
I wouldn't die for an insurance company. Get in. There's water in the trunk.
It's jewels, cash, and high-value items. He knows exactly what they're transporting when. There's no DNA. He's in and out in seconds.
Your guy's untraceable. I came here to make you a business proposition. Worked at the same company for 11 years. You're VP when you should be a partner. High-value items your company insures. You make them disappear.
Start by handing me your phone.
You're a thief.
Guys you work for, do you think they're squeaky clean?
I need to start considering myself. Maybe my clients.
Don't threaten me.
Life's too short to drive boring cars, right?
It's a security setup.
There's a courier carrying watches and gems, looking at $11 million in one room. Wait, I want 3.
Rob the courier, and then you'll rob him.
Wait, I always said you gotta break through it.
I'll see you again in a day.
Every series of actions creates a pattern.
About the money.
What is it about?
Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is based on a powerful Hollywood movie story, explained in a simple and interesting way. This is not just a movie recap, it's a journey through emotions, struggle, and unforgettable moments. So relax, stay till the end, and enjoy this amazing story. Crime 101, 2026, Movie Review. Crime 101 is a 2026 crime thriller film starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, and Halle Berry. It is written and directed by Bart, Layton, based on the 2020 novella by Don Winslow. The film also features Monica Barbaro, Corey Hawkins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Nick Nolte. The film premiered in London on January 28, 2026. And was released in the United States by Amazon MGM Studios and internationally by Sony Pictures, releasing international on February 13, 2026. It received positive reviews from critics but was a box office bomb, grossing $72.8 million worldwide on a budget of $90 million. In Los Angeles, Mike is an elusive and disciplined jewel thief, carefully planning robberies to avoid violence and DNA evidence while escaping via US Route 101. Intercepting a diamond delivery carrying decoys, he steals $3 million in genuine diamonds but is shaken after being grazed by an unexpected bullet. He calls off a planned robbery in Santa Barbara, but his feds, money, enlists volatile young biker Orman instead. LAPD detective Lou Lupsnick links the diamond theft to Mike's string of unsolved robberies and suggests a lone suspect is responsible, but his theory is dismissed. Preparing another heist, Mike pays Bevan, a hacker, for information on Sharon, a high-end insurance broker. Long undervalued by her firm, Sharon is further frustrated when a new colleague closes a lucrative deal with the wealthy Stephen Monroe. After Orman violently carries out the Santa Barbara job, Mike cuts ties with Money, who directs Orman to intercept Mike's next heist. The lonely Mike strikes up a romance with a stranger, Maya, after she rear-ends his car. He realizes he is being tracked by Orman, who threatens Bevan into revealing that Sharon is connected to Mike's plan. Sharon rejects Mike's attempt to recruit her as an accomplice, and Mike spots Orman, confronting him after a high-speed chase. Realizing he has been sent by Money, Mike warns Orman to stay away. Separating from his unfaithful wife, Lou finds himself joining Sharon's yoga class. He discovers the car Mike used in the diamond robbery, and a trace of blood inside matches Mike's juvenile record with his birth name, James. Denied a promotion yet again, Sharon agrees to help Mike. Demanding a $3 million share, she provides inside information on an illicit diamond purchase Monroe has arranged to make with $5.5 million in cash, for his upcoming wedding at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Lou is suspended for refusing to help cover up the police shooting of another jewel thief but continues his investigation and tracks down Mike's foster mother. Orman viciously interrogates Sharon, who turns to Lou for help and admits everything and quits her job after excoriating her boss. Wary of Mike's secretive nature, Maya ends their relationship after he reveals he will be leaving town. The briefcase of diamonds arrives with a courier, and Mike takes the place of his security guard, unaware Lou is posing as the courier himself. Driving to the hotel, the two of them deliver the briefcase to Monroe and his fiancée Adrienne in the wedding suite. Mike seizes the cash at gunpoint, but Lou retrieves a gun from the case and reveals himself as a police officer. Their standoff is interrupted by Orman, disguised as a hotel employee. Demanding the case, he shoots and wounds Monroe, but Mike kills Orman before he can shoot Lou. Allowing Mike to escape empty-handed, Lou uses knowledge of financial crimes Monroe has committed to force Monroe and his fiancée to support his story as he frames Orman for Mike's robberies. Having stolen the decoy gems taken into evidence from Mike's earlier heist, Lou swaps them with real diamonds from the briefcase, which he gives to Sharon to start a new life. He discovers Mike has left him his vintage green 1968 Camaro and Mike sends Maya a childhood photo, asking her for a second chance. In August 2023, it was announced that Amazon MGM Studios would distribute Crime 101, a film adaptation of the Don Winslow novella of the same name, beating out Netflix with a nearly $90 million offer. Pedro Pascal and Chris Hemsworth would star and Bart Layton would direct. In May 2024, Mark Ruffalo replaced Pascal, who departed due to scheduling conflicts, and Barry Keoghan was also cast. In October, Halle Berry, Corey Hawkins, and Monica Barbaro joined the cast in undisclosed roles. In November, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nick Nolte, Tate Donovan, Bobak Tafti, Payman Maadi, Deborah Heatwall, Devin Bostick, Paul Adelstein, Drew Powell, and Matthew Del Negro rounded out the cast. Principal photography began in October 2024, in Los Angeles. Jacob Sicher-Schulsinger serves as the editor, while Blank Mass composed the score. Crime 101 premiered on January 28, 2026, in London and was released in the United States on February 13, 2026, after initially being set for January 23. The film premiered on Amazon Prime Video on April 1, 2026, as a Prime original movie. As of April 1, 2026, Crime 101 has grossed $37 million in the United States and Canada, and $36 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $72 million. In the United States and Canada, Crime 101 was released alongside Wuthering Heights, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, and Goat, and was projected to gross $15 to $17 million from 3,161 theaters in its 4-day opening weekend. The film grossed $3.9 million on its first day, and went on to debut to $14.3 million, and $16 million over the 4 days, finishing third behind Wuthering Heights and Goat. In its second weekend the film made $5.8 million, finishing in fourth. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 88% of 180 critics' reviews are positive. The website's consensus reads, Crime 101 has studied the greats of LA noir closely and shows its homework with sleek action set pieces and vivid characterizations, receiving top marks and graduating near the top of its class. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 68 out of 100, based on 37 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B on an A+ to F scale. Davis is a jewel thief, heists along Los Angeles Highway 101. Sharon is an insurance broker, working to make partner at her company. Lou is a detective, chasing the trail of the elusive 101 robber. Each of these people has reached a crossroads in his or her life. Davis was nearly killed during his last heist, leaving him searching for human connection and a way out of his criminal career. Sharon, who has sacrificed so much for professional success, is rapidly reaching her expiration date, at least, in the eyes of her employers. And Lou's pursuit of justice has been hamstrung time and again by corruption and indifference within the police department. All three have reached a breaking point. A moment of desperation. And that desperation is pulling these three different people together toward the same critical point. Davis looks for his final score. Sharon wants to get even. Lou hopes that all this unraveling mess can, somehow, someway, end in justice. In different instances, Davis and Lou protect Sharon from physical harm. A detective stays loyal to his partner even though he has been encouraged to jump ship. Davis truly tries to leave his life of crime, which has forced him to be more violent than he seems comfortable with behind. A few of the main characters attend yoga classes at different intervals. The instructor of those classes repeats several humanistic, New Age self-actualizations that are repeated throughout the film. For instance, she says, "You have the power to create all that you desire out of nothing." Following a near-death experience, Davis asks his mentor if he believes in omens. The man says he does not. Lou is called Detective Buddha at one point. Referring to a dead man, someone says, "God rest his soul." A character says Namaste. Davis meets a woman named Maya by happenstance, and the two strike up a relationship. He invites her to his apartment, where they dance and kiss. Later, we see them lying in bed together, the implication being that they had sex. We see Maya's bare back and Davis' chest. Davis also hires a prostitute. That woman wears lingerie that shows a lot of skin, including much of her buttocks. A hacker hides data for a client in the comment section of a porn site. As the client scrolls through the site, we see explicit video thumbnails that include nudity. Before a heist, Davis scrubs himself head to toe so as not to leave any DNA evidence at the scene of the crime. His bare upper torso and legs are shown, but we are spared from seeing any critical anatomy. A husband and wife discuss divorce, a conversation that takes the husband by surprise. The man asks if they still love each other and the wife says that she wants something new. When the husband asks her if she has had any affairs, she replies, "Do you really want to know?" Sharon looks at a picture of a man in a Speedo on social media. Someone says his colleague is looking for a hot surfer chick. A man repeatedly says he is not gay to antagonize someone. A few characters talk about getting laid. Some women wear revealing clothing. One woman wears a bikini and lounges by a pool. A guy is seen in his underwear. A heist revolves around an impending wedding. An insurance company sends attractive female brokers to encourage rich, older men to take out insurance policies. As you might imagine, a movie called Crime 101 is no stranger to violence. While not particularly graphic, the film's action is plenty intense, with a handful of deaths and many more characters under the threat of death. Davis' early heists usually involve the thief holding a gun to someone's head. And while the man may not want to use deadly force, he will if necessary. He stalks his targets, threatening their families to get them to comply with his wishes. Orman, another criminal who's been hired by Davis' boss to follow Davis, has less restraint. He robs a jewelry store, threatening the people inside and hitting them with his gun, drawing blood. He beats a woman to extract information. He assaults a man as well. He holds people at gunpoint, and it's clear he would have no misgivings about pulling the trigger. A few people are shot, and we see some blood. A few people are beaten bloody. Characters drive recklessly through traffic, causing one car to flip and crash. Another car hits a guy. The F word is used nearly 120 times. The S word is heard 14 times. Jesus' name is abused 6 times, and God's name is misused twice. Additionally, there are uses of D, N, A, whole, H, V, CH and PR, K. The slang term screw is used a handful of times. A police officer is called a pig. Someone uses a rude hand gesture. Lou smokes. Davis and Sharon share a drink at a bar. One scene takes place in a convenience store, where we see shelves of alcohol and neon signs promoting brands of beer. An insurance broker is given a bottle of champagne for closing a deal. Davis hires a hacker to pull information on his targets, which involves stealing their personal data. The thief lies and impersonates individuals to get closer to his targets. Sharon initially turns down an offer from Davis to rob one of her clients, but she later changes her mind, cutting a deal with Davis in exchange for a piece of the take. Sharon tells Lou that money is indeed the way to happiness and seems comfortable with her company's underhanded methods to deny legitimate insurance claims. She is skilled at reading people, which she says is necessary in her line of work to determine if her clients are alcoholics, gamblers, adulterers. What we see of the LA Police Department seems incredibly corrupt, with detectives ignoring certain crimes, lying and even planting evidence to protect themselves. Lou is encouraged on a few occasions to drop his pursuit of Davis and instead play the game and find a solution that benefits his co-workers. A detective steals evidence and, later, something even more valuable. A criminal is allowed to go free. A woman accidentally rear-ends someone when she tries to exchange insurance information. The other driver attempts to pay her off. A man calls insurers parasites. A man's wife barges in on him while he's using the toilet. We hear someone was so scared during a robbery that he soiled his pants. I do what I do best, I take scores. You do what you do best, try to stop guys like me. That's not a line from this movie, but 1995's Heat, another sweeping, L.A. based crime thriller. It's a film I felt Crime 101 had modeled itself after. In Heat, an obsessive police detective named Vincent Hanna pursues a skilled thief named Neil McCauley, bent on putting him behind bars. It's the same premise here. Chris Hemsworth's Davis is like a slightly nobler McCauley, Mark Ruffalo's Louis Stabler Hanna. I'll equate Sharon to Heat's Michael Sheridan, if when she says the action is the juice, she's referring to insurance brokerages rather than bank heists. But that's all really beside the point. Crime 101 is movie chock full of compromises. Sharon compromises her professional integrity when faced with an increasingly antagonistic work environment. Lou compromises his pursuit of justice when he becomes disillusioned with the system. And Davis compromises his methods when he falls for a woman and seeks to leave his criminal career behind. His is the only one with a truly positive character development, though it still comes with plenty of problems. Crime 101 makes plenty of compromises on its content, as well. Foul language peppers the film's dialogue, with some scenes including a seemingly endless barrage of F-words. Violence is frequent and, while not gory, is plenty intense. And nudity and sexual content make frequent and unwelcome appearances. Crime 101 does not lack style but substance. Thumping action and slick production can't cover a story full of mixed and muddled messages. Much like the highway from which it takes its name, families will want to avoid this 101 and its content gridlock. Crime 101 is a crime thriller with film noir facets about a professional thief working along the coastal freeway corridor on the west coast of Southern California and a Los Angeles detective who's trying to catch him, but the thief doesn't want to do a risky jewelry store robbery in Santa Barbara for his fence, so the fence hires a reckless young man who causes all sorts of trouble, including trouble for the job the thief prefers doing. Crime 101 is the first decent crime thriller in what seems like years, but it's spoiled by an excessive amount of strong foul language and some lawless antinomian plot qualities occurring at the end. James, who sometimes poses as Mark, is a professional thief who's been pulling a series of robberies along the coast in Los Angeles and north and south of the city. Lou, a rumbled LAPD robbery homicide detective, calls him the 101 Thief, because his thefts occur along the 101 freeway, which runs north and south along the coast. Pacifica Coast Highway runs right on the coast, next to the beaches. The other cops aren't happy with Lou's theory, though, because it hasn't resulted in any arrests. In fact, Lou disputes a couple arrests other cops have made, which makes them and the department look bad. The movie opens with James robbing two couriers for a small jewelry store owner. The job goes haywire, though, when one of the two couriers has an extra personal gun and takes a shot at James, busting his car's window. James has a devil of a time escaping, but he manages to escape to an underground garage where he's stashed a second car. Before taking off in the second car, he puts a cover on the car with the smashed window. James meets up with his fence, an older man named Money, to turn over the diamonds he stole. However, James complains to Money that he doesn't like the next job, which is robbing a more fancy jewelry store in Santa Barbara, 75 to 90 miles north of Los Angeles. It's too risky, he tells his friend. Money is upset about James' complaint. So, unknown to James, he hires Orman, a young man with a motorcycle, to pull the Santa Barbara job. Orman is more reckless, and more violent. When the job goes south because the store's front door gets locked, Orman, who's wearing his motorcycle helmet, turns abusive and almost kills one or more of the store's workers. He barely escapes when the police arrive. The detective, Lou, is perplexed because James never hurts anyone in the robberies he commits, they're so meticulously planned. However, his boss suspends him since several people got hurt by the mysterious thief in the motorcycle helmet. James angrily confronts Money about hiring the other man for the job. The two yell at each other, causing a scene at the farmer's market restaurant where they meet. Money becomes incensed with James. So, he hires Orman to follow James and find out where James is getting his information about who to rob next. It turns out James has a computer hacker who spies on the emails of potential victims, including rich companies and their employees. The next potential victim is a beautiful, disgruntled female insurance broker, who's unsuccessfully been angling for several years to become partner at an upscale insurance company. She's actually the insurance for the jewelry store in the beginning, and Lou had asked her to run a polygraph on the owner because the robbery looked like an inside job to him. Lou doesn't know that the computer hacker James uses is just really good at what he does. James finds out Orman is following him, and this leads to some twists, character decisions and a suspenseful confrontation at the end. Crime 101 is a well-made crime thriller with some film noir touches. Though there are some noble people in the story, there's also some corruption, such as Sharon's sleazy company, whose male bosses keep putting off her promotion to partner. Also, one of Lou's detective colleagues is not above fudging evidence at a crime scene, and his boss just wants Lou to stop rocking the boat and be a team player. Many film noir thrillers take place in a corrupt world with ambiguous moral values that the characters, whether they're heroic or not heroic, must navigate carefully, or meet their doom. Tellingly, Crime 101 makes a few overt references to Steve McQueen, especially his classic, iconic 1968 detective thriller, Bullet, one of the best movies of its kind ever made. The movie even showcases a green Ford Mustang car in it, like the one McQueen drove. Crime 101 doesn't quite measure up to that great movie, but it does a pretty good job trying. And, its 3 stars, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, and Halle Berry, as the thief, the cop, and the lady insurance executive are pretty wonderful. Crime 101 is the first decent crime thriller in what seems like years. However, it's spoiled by an excessive amount of strong foul language and some lawless antinomian story outcomes occurring at the end. Also, there's some politically correct content regarding being homeless, orphaned, poor, or powerless in a corrupt, heartless world. For example, James was an orphan who lived in a foster home. Also, Sharon's male bosses only use women to entice rich clients. Though still gorgeous, she's played by Halle Berry. After all, she's an older woman who they think has outlived her usefulness. The comparisons to Heat practically make themselves. A cat and mouse caper centered around a meticulous career thief, Chris Hemsworth, and the dogged detective on his trail, Mark Ruffalo. Bart Layton's Crime 101 is nothing if not a part of a lineage of cold, process-oriented thrillers. But this adaptation of the Don Winslow short story of the same name is distinct enough to stand on its own two legs, equally a pleasurable recall of 1970s and 80s Los Angeles crime fiction as a novel reflection of the city's brimming wealth divide. Crime 101 cooks low and slow, like a stew on the back burner whose ingredients thicken and coalesce at almost imperceptible levels. It's unusual for a major studio film these days to take its time, but that may be the film's most appealing element. This is a purposefully languid movie that proves real, genuine tension can be built without crash landing right on your head. In an era of fast cuts and escalating explosions, the kind that Hemsworth, Ruffalo, and Halle Berry all know intimately from their time in Marvel's universe, it is refreshing to watch something this confident in its own particular DNA. Confidence, as it happens, is not something that comes easy to Mike Davis. Playing directly off his own public image of Thor, the brash, ridiculous superhero of the MCU, Hemsworth plays Mike like a shut-in. Avoiding eye contact at all costs and apparently so unused to speaking to women that he resorts to frequent visits with an escort service, Mike is a man whose expertise has been developed as a consequence of his inability to function socially. In contrast with much of the heist genre's previous leading characters, Mike is neither smooth nor arrogant, but perpetually nervous and short of breath. Mike has been on a run of high-end jewel thefts, all of which happen at locations up and down the California coastline in proximity to the 101 freeway. His code of ethics is such that he lives little to no pattern of behavior, but Detective Lou Lupsnick, Ruffalo, suspects that this recent spate of cold cases could be attributable to one person. The LAPD strongly disagrees. Actually, they just refuse to take it seriously at all, for fear that it will cause a significant drop in their closure records. Lupsnick is very much Mike's opposite. A slovenly, unambitious investigator who covers up his disappointment in life with chain-smoking and constant self-deprecation, Lupsnick is a man who has clearly been beaten down by a police system which prizes loyalty over genuine police work. There are implications that he has refused to play the game, a reproach of both capitalism's reach into public service and the police's predilection for self-protection. After Mike just barely survives a job, he starts to approach his work with more caution, telling his boss, Money, Nick Nolte, that he wants to back out of a planned heist of a shop in Santa Barbara. Money responds by covertly hiring Orman, Barry Keoghan, to do the job instead, which in turn sparks a long dynamite fuse that brings Mike, Lupsnick, Orman, and Sharon, Barry, an insurance salesperson to the ultra-wealthy, to its inevitable explosion. For all of these characters, Mike's early brush with death becomes a collective wake-up call that their individual assumptions about what constitutes success may be misguided. Embedded in Layton's caper is a rebuke of financial ambition as the be-all and end-all to happiness, which admittedly is a bit of a hard message at a time of great economic disparity. It doesn't always work in that way, and Layton spends a bit too much time trying to sell it, as well as Mike's budding relationship with Maya, Monica Barbaro. For one thing, Mike is such a blank canvas that watching Maya convince herself of his positive qualities feels a bit silly. Hemsworth is very good here, but his character is not just hard to read, he's pretty much empty, taking caginess to an all-new level when he cannot even mention a single musical artist he likes to listen to. It is to the actor's credit that we believe him nonetheless. All four leads are playing extremely well off of each other and off of themselves, with Keoghan especially Keoghan-like as yet another slimy, creepy, alien-like menace. But it is through Barry that the film works best as a treatise on the appeal of breaking the order of traditional rules and guidelines. A high-end tried-and-true capitalist, Her devotion to work has come at the cost of having very little personal life, and yet, for all of her success, she is treated with abject misogyny by her bosses. As she is brought closer to Mike's orbit, Barry beautifully brings us along on the ride of someone whose entire understanding of themselves and of the world is crumbling faster than an overbaked cookie. Crime 101 works more often than it doesn't, and if nothing else, it is extremely exciting to have an original crime film in the vein of New Hollywood's best. Between its abject refusal to capitulate to conventional expectations and its deliberate pace, there is indeed a lot here to learn from. That's Filmmaking 101. Why do we love crime movies? Better yet, why do we especially love the ones where the criminals are typically portrayed as the protagonists? We're all taught at a young age that crime doesn't pay, but the older one gets, the easier it becomes to justify criminal actions, to a certain extent, at least. Goodfellas and The Godfather are the most popular examples, and both aren't just considered the best the crime genre has to offer, but also just happen to be considered among the greatest movies ever made. Going deeper than just the core filmmaking of it all, these movies are often character-driven pieces about a societal underdog, with audiences falling head over heels in love with Danny Ocean's, George Clooney, casino heist antics in the Ocean's trilogy, and the shockingly endearing Sonny's, Al Pacino, quest for quick cash in Dog Day Afternoon. The list of great crime films is endless, though two in particular, Drive and Heat, feel like particular influences for Crime 101. Hailing from American Animals director Bart Layton and boasting a starry ensemble cast that consists of 2 Avengers and an X-Man, Crime 101 is certainly bringing quite a lot to the driver's seat. While the film's reliance on established crime stories dips a bit too much into the realm of cliché, the overall result is a thrilling ride that's fun to watch, from its quietest character moments to its loudest chase sequences. Why do we love crime movies? Better yet, why do we especially love the ones where the criminals are typically portrayed as the protagonists? We're all taught at a young age that crime doesn't pay, but the older one gets, the easier it becomes to justify criminal actions, to a certain extent, at least. Goodfellas and The Godfather are the most popular examples, and both aren't just considered the best the crime genre has to offer, but also just happen to be considered among the greatest movies ever made. Going deeper than just the core filmmaking of it all, these movies are often character-driven pieces about a societal underdog, with audiences falling head over heels in love with Danny Ocean's, George Clooney, casino heist antics in the Ocean's trilogy, and the shockingly endearing Sonny's, Al Pacino, quest for quick cash in Dog Day Afternoon. The list of great crime films is endless, though 2 in particular, Drive and Heat, feel like particular influences for Crime 101. Hailing from American Animals director Bart Layton and boasting a starry ensemble cast that consists of 2 Avengers and an X-Man, Crime 101 is certainly bringing quite a lot to the driver's seat. While the film's reliance on established crime stories dips a bit too much into the realm of cliché, the overall result is a thrilling ride that's fun to watch, from its quietest character moments to its loudest chase sequences. What is Crime 101 about? Chris Hemsworth takes a break from the action-packed worlds of the MCU and Extraction for a smaller-scale thriller as a man named Davis, a soft-spoken master thief who has gained a reputation as a serial offender known for stealing scores along the 101 freeway. Not everyone believes he exists, but one who does is a detective on the brink of divorce named Lou, Mark Ruffalo, who becomes obsessed with finding Davis and bringing him to justice. Meanwhile, Davis has to juggle finding his next score with the potentially unwilling help of an insurance specialist, Sharon, Halle Berry, keeping that score a secret from his violent competitor, Foreman, Barry Keoghan, and potentially throwing all of that away for a woman he meets named Monica Barbaro. Those bolded names alone should show just how much star power Crime 101 is working with, and it doesn't even include other supporting players like Corey Hawkins and Nick Nolte. At a somewhat beefy runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes, Crime 101 manages to keep a pretty good balance with its large cast of characters, with the story serving as something of a three-way tale following Davis, Lou, and Sharon on their own journeys. Those intimidated by the longer runtime also needn't worry, as Bart Layton's impressive directing, both for the more intimate dialogue sequences and the high-octane car chases, makes the pacing a breeze. Circling back to the characters, Hemsworth, Ruffalo, and Barry are all more than competent leads who each bring something interesting to the table. Sure, on their basis, they are a bit derivative of other crime movie archetypes, with Hemsworth being the drive-like anti-hero with a heart of gold, Ruffalo being the tenacious detective that nobody believes, and Barry being the everyday person who's fed up with their current set of circumstances. That being said, there are enough fine details and nuances in each of their performances that help them stand on their own without mounting the shoulders of giants too much. Keoghan and Barbaro also fit the bill as Crime 101's main antagonist and love interest, respectively, each giving great performances in their own right. Bart Layton may be most comfortable with the world of documentary filmmaking, but with American Animals and now Crime 101, he's shown a real knack for the heist/crime genre. While the characters and writing itself do occasionally dip its toes one too many times into derivative cliches despite being overall well written, the loudest voice in Crime 101 is some top-notch filmmaking on display. While fans of Hemsworth shouldn't expect him to be wielding a magic hammer like Thor or getting caught up in one-take brawls with endless enemies like Tyler Rake, they should expect plenty of tense action sequences that the renowned movie star has become so revered for. The film has everything from very clear, well-shot car chases that don't feel so abundant as to be tiresome to a lot of slower, more tense moments. Cinematographer Eric Wilson and editors Julian Hart and Jacob Schulsinger also deserve credit for giving Crime 101's vision of LA a clean and aesthetically pleasing look and also helping enhance its story with clever editing and camera transitions. Crime 101 always feels like it maintains a good, steady momentum with its characters and the stories it wants to tell with them. Their stories aren't reinventing the wheel in the crime genre, but they are handled with enough care, solid direction, and competent performances to avoid feeling overly reminiscent of what we've seen before. The bulk of Crime 101 consists of shorter dialogue sequences between characters, yet they still maintain the frenetic momentum of the other tense scenes. Things reach an excellent boiling point in the film's grand climax, which has all the great pacing and appropriate level of suspense that one would hope for from a crime thriller like this. The ending itself does sadly edge a bit too close to the melodramatic, wrapping a few things up in a bit too tight a bow. 2026 is turning out to be a winner for smaller-scale action thrillers, with Crime 101 joining the ranks of Dead Man's Wire and Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die as potential new contenders for the cult classic action thriller club. The fingerprints of other all-time hits from crime movies past are undeniably present, and perhaps there's one too many of them, but they don't stop Crime 101 from showing that it has the formula behind a great, entertaining crime thriller down to a T. Chris Hemsworth is a likable enough anti-hero that he makes Bart Layton's crime journey a more than satisfying ride from start to finish. Crime 101 sounds like the title of a cute caper movie, but this movie isn't cute. It's an underworld melodrama focused on a mysterious thief, Chris Hemsworth, a police detective obsessed with catching him, Mark Ruffalo, and an insurance broker, Halle Berry, whose company must pay out settlements to the people the thief has stolen from. The number in the title refers to the 101 freeway in Southern California, the main artery that bears the thief to and from his targets. It has two first-rate car chases, luxurious cinematography that transforms Los Angeles into a city of dark magic, and a script filled with memorable supporting characters, including an ambitious young psycho played by Barry Keoghan, an elderly crime boss played by Nick Nolte, and a good-heart young woman played by Monica Barbaro, Joan Baez in A Complete Unknown, who falls for the thief without knowing what he does for a living. The result will be reflexively compared to classic Michael Mann crime thrillers, for good reason, a adapted by writer-director Bart Layton from the same titled novel by Don Winslow. Crime 101 shares man's obsession with self-reliant, stoic characters and has a film noir in color look that's reminiscent of Heat and Thief. But the movie has many other influences, including hard-edged analog-era crime pictures like Bullet and The Driver and classic gangster melodramas and film noir tragedies from the 1930s and 40s like Criss-Cross, Angels with Dirty Faces and The Roaring Twenties that focused on criminals with a code that drove their lives but could also be their death sentence. The movie drops us into the story without preamble and lets us figure out what's going on. Hemsworth's character, Mike Davis, is driving around LA, shadowing some crooks who are transporting pricey jewels to a criminal buyer. His plan is to interrupt the exchange and take the jewels for himself, and he does until the tables turn and he's so shocked that he's forced to abort the mission. That doesn't please his patron, a legendary underworld figure known only by his street name, Money, Nolte. Although Money reassures Mike that he's not in trouble for failing to follow through, he then gives the next big job, the robbery of jewels kept in a vault at a high-end jewelry store, to another of his guys, Orman, Keoghan, a smug young man with spiky bleached hair and what turn out to be serious impulse control problems. We never get into the details of Money's operation, but we infer from his conversations with Mike and Orman that he's a sinister father figure to troubled boys, grooming them into loyal personal soldiers. Barry's character, Sharon Colvin, works for the company that insured the jewels Mike robbed from the robbers. The jeweler who set up the original crime, Sami Kassim, Payman Maadi, is the client her firm is supposed to pay. She's been with the company for over a decade, is the only woman on staff of any significance, and is on deck to become a full partner, so it's crucial that she deal with this swiftly at the same time that she's trying to close an insurance policy on an arrogant billionaire. Sharon is immediately suspicious of Sami and tries to enlist the detective, her old pal Lou Lupsnick, Ruffalo, to turn up the heat by declaring the jeweler a suspect and making him take a polygraph test. Lou, a hard-working idealist in a precinct house filled with clock punchers and amoral careerists, declines and tells Sharon that if she thinks a polygraph is essential to her investigation, the company should do it themselves. But Lou is running his own investigation, based on the theory that this is yet another entry on a list of 24 recent robberies, all committed near a 101 freeway on-ramp. He believes that if he can get the right clues and put them all together, he can catch the thief that he's been obsessed with for years, a masked and gloved phantom who leaves no useful physical evidence at crime scenes and gets in and out of jobs fast, with as little violence as possible. Lou's colleagues, including his young partner Tillman, Corey Hawkins, think this is pure fantasy. There is an increasing consensus that Lou has become an unproductive and difficult eccentric in a squad room that's united in their desire to close cases by any means necessary, and is bringing down their collective clearance rate by worrying about minor details like whether they arrested the right person. Lou's supervisor, who finds him irritating and holier than thou, warns him to find a theory that works for the whole building, which translates as get with the program or get out. There's a lot more going on with all the characters, and the movie gives them space to breathe, interact, and worry about more than the challenges that are right in front of them. Crime 101 begins with a cross-cut montage of Mike, Sharon, and Lou preparing for the day's events, while the soundtrack plays a relaxation tape Sharon uses each night, hoping it will help her fall asleep. It never does. The speaker alludes to becoming one with the universe and your fellow human beings, who are all connected to you, even if you don't realize it. This is a recurring motif that develops and expands throughout the movie, with conversations about free will and fate, and about how the cult of individuality, when practiced widely, has a destructive impact on society. Mike is rich thanks to his cut from all the heists, and Sharon's doing very well herself, but Lou lives with his soon-to-be ex-wife Angie, Jennifer Jason Leigh, underused but effective, in a cluttered little house. As we look at Lou's world, as well as the homes and workspaces of other characters, we can't help but mentally juxtapose it with the wealth and decadence of those characters, who seem to care about nothing except climbing the social ladder and getting even richer than they already are. There are shots of homeless encampments on the streets of Los Angeles, and when Mike opens up just a little bit to Maya and others, we learn, without researchable details, that he grew up poor, experiences severe class anxiety in luxurious spaces, and is trying to accumulate money so he can stop working at some point and enjoy life. When Maya asks if Mike has a number in mind, he says he does but won't elaborate. Which is all by way of saying that this is an unusually class-conscious crime film to have been released by any major studio or streaming platform, let alone Amazon. It's the rare big-budget Hollywood movie that has a very clear idea of what it wants to say, faithfully replicating genre cliches while putting a nifty spin on them. The result is several cuts above the usual movie with DNA from Heath. At the risk of being exiled for heresy, it's superior in certain extremely specific ways, especially in its ability to create a visceral sense of a whole society buzzing around its characters, and make each as lifelike as possible in whatever amount of time they've been allotted. The latter is especially evident in the film's treatment of major female characters. They always come across as full human beings, apart from the men. There was applause at several points during the screening I attended, but the biggest reaction came not from a quotable threat or spectacular stunt, but from Sharon telling her boss what she thinks of him. Hemsworth continues to prove that of all the screen actors so conventionally handsome that they could have been created in a lab to play superheroes, he's the most versatile. He's convincing here as a tall bruiser who does a superficially convincing imitation of a confident, happy man, but has trouble maintaining eye contact with others, and radiates a haunted energy that comes through if you spend enough time around him. We sometimes can see the deprived and neglected boy inside this man, even when he's at his most intimidating. Mike is carrying around traumas he won't reveal. Like, ever. This is a film that respects viewers enough to let them in for what isn't shown or discussed. Ruffalo's unpredictable approach to this character is delightful. Lou speaks softly and nearly always has a faint smile on his face and a happy gleam in his eye, even when he's being challenged, insulted, or threatened. He has terrible posture and doesn't so much walk as shamble, and he clearly takes great pride in his ability to verbally sucker punch a suspect with a question that wipes the smirk off their face and makes them realize that this grubby little man who smells like cigarettes and has a Mario mustache is going to put them behind bars. He's the continuation of Columbo by other means. This is a special movie. It has a life force unlike any other crime thriller I've seen. It's about characters who suffer a personal failure but emerge transformed. It's a violent movie, but not a cruel one, and unexpectedly moving by the end. Last year, I attended a retrospective of Michael Mann's Heat. It was the first time I'd seen it on the big screen in 30 years, and it held up beautifully as an action heist flick. The timing was appropriate as comparisons have been made to the latest from writer-director Bart Layton, American Animals, entitled Crime 101. Both are set in Los Angeles, both are about one last big score, both have a thief semi-distracted by love, and both have a cop with a troubled life trying to apprehend the perpetrators. The source material here is a 50-odd page short story authored by New York author Don Winslow and first published in 2020. 42-year-old Australian Chris Hemsworth, Thor, has gravitated towards heroic roles throughout his career, and while there have been a few exceptions, such as Furiosa and Bad Times at the El Royale, his modus operandi has been to create likable characters. That's again the case here. Mike Davis is a thief who steals millions of dollars in cash and jewels, but the screenplay does everything possible to make him sound like the nicest criminal in the world. He had a tough childhood, he's super intelligent, he's well groomed, he works alone, he's polite in the company of women, he doesn't fire his gun, and he never uses violence. The detective trying to take him down is Lou Lupsnick, played by Oscar nominee Mark Ruffalo. Spotlight, Poor Things. Again, The screenplay adds a few flourishes to make sure we like him too. He's meticulous with attention to detail and, unlike other cops who will use any flimsy evidence to close a case, he won't stop investigating until he's proven his strong hunches. His shabby look, rough voice, and fractured relationship with his wife, a weird cameo from Jennifer Jason Leigh, reinforce the view that he's been having a tough run. He needs to crack a big case to reinvigorate his career. I'd argue the most interesting player in this ensemble is played by Academy Award winner Halle Berry, Monsters Ball. She's Sharon Colvin, an insurance broker in her mid-50s who has brought in big dollars for her firm but has been denied a lucrative promotion by her sexist bosses. In a fleeting moment of vulnerability, she meets with Mike and exchanges confidential information which could make them both very rich. Having lived an honest, hard-working life for so long, does she have the resolve to risk it all in pursuit of life-changing money? It won't blow you away, but Crime 101 is a solid enough action thriller that keeps you guessing as to how it will all end up. Hemsworth, Ruffalo, and Berry are good, but the rest of the cast are underwhelming. I'm a huge fan of Barry Keoghan, the Banshees of Inisherin, but his villainous turn as a goofily reckless criminal with minimal backstory, yeah, it doesn't work. Monica Barbaro, a complete unknown, is underutilized as Mike's love interest, and scenes involving a rasping Nick Nolte, affliction, add little. Most of the film takes place at night and I enjoyed the direction of Bart Layton as he captures the gritty radiance of Los Angeles, from high shots looking down on packed, floodlit freeways, through to close UPS of a motorcycle helmet which acts as a quasi-mirror. It can't match the unforgettable heat, few films could, but as a standalone heist movie, you could do a lot worse than Crime 101. There are many things to make this movie worth watching. I saw it in the theater and when it was released on Amazon streaming. Crime 101 is a heist movie, cop versus criminal, but within this story there's nuisance between good and bad, right and wrong, and alive and dead. Entering and leaving a scene is flawless. There's no over-explanation to the stories. You are given enough information to be informed but not more than is needed. The setting is Los Angeles where the city can open its mouth wide, swallow you whole, spit out the body parts it finds useless. Or it can open its invisible arms, help you walk down a golden path, and keeping you strong and resilient. The major themes include personal gain or loss, human individuality and connection, and actions and consequences. Crime 101 is adapted from Don Winslow's book and screenplay written by Bart Layton. It is rated R and runs 140 minutes. The movie is about a LAPD detective, Lou Loopsnig played by Mark Ruffalo, in the middle of solving a string of heists taking place near the 101 freeway. Lou works with his partner, Tillman played by Corey Hawkins, to find an experienced criminal, Mike Davis played by Chris Hemsworth, having reservations about his career choices. Davis meets two women, each serving different purposes. One is an insurance broker, Sharon Colvin played by Halle Berry, that forms a one-time transactional arrangement with him. The other is his love interest, Maya played by Monica Barbaro. Intertwined in all of this is Lou's failing marriage to his wife, Angie played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, Sharon's unsupportive boss, Mark played by Paul Adelstein, overly ambitious criminal to prove himself, Orman played by Barry Keoghan, seeing the world only through a black and white lens police captain, Stewart played by Matthew Del Negro, and cutthroat crime boss, Money played by Nick Nolte. As we see the streets of Los Angeles upside down, they slowly turn right side up. Mike works for money. He takes all the risk where money gets all the profit. The jewels Mike stole from the robbers are insured by the firm Sharon works. She has dreams of becoming a partner except new younger blood comes in to outshine her. While Sharon listens to relaxation tapes, she realizes this positive thinking results in pretty much nothing. She takes more drastic measures and one that could land her in prison for a long time. There are equally satisfying car chases to intelligible dialogue between opposition parties. The scene between Sharon and her boss is worthy. car scene between Mike and Lou is great. The rare vulnerability of Mike crops up at the right time, not too much and not too little. This is a cat and mouse chase. Lou clearly let his marriage fall apart. His law enforcement career came first. He isn't the disgruntled cop that needed to retire 5 years ago. He's the cop that still has some hope driving his cases but understands the vultures working beside him in his precinct and lives near in Los Angeles. By the end you still can see who the cat is and who are the mice, and nothing has really changed. Seeing your life from a different angle does occur for some of the characters, and for the few get to experience a little bit of freedom if only for a day. Crime 101 is an underworld drama that's clever and compelling in unusual ways. It's got a couple of car chases through Los Angeles that feel grippingly unchoreographed, as if the drivers really were figuring out at the last moment where to turn next, yet it's not an action movie. The central character, Davis, Chris Hemsworth, is a jewel thief who specializes in meticulously targeted robberies that you could definitely call heists, though the film doesn't have the trapdoor bloodness of a heist thriller. Crime 101 includes crime aplenty, but at heart it's a character study, or, rather, 4 character studies wound into one. Based on a novella by Don Winslow, Savages, the film is just moody and intricate enough to feel the Michael Mann of Dash Thief adjacent, but it's really a portrait of lost souls working to keep their heads in a corrupt world. Maybe that's why Crime 101 plays like a bit of a head game, in a way that may not do it any favors at the box office, yet I was held by how the film lets its actors make their mark. In the elaborate opening sequence, Davis steals some hot diamonds from a local jeweler and his assistants, which involves stopping them in cars and getting lucky enough to just be missed by a bullet fired from an ancient faulty pistol. Hemsworth plays this for maximum cool, and he's good enough at it that for 10 minutes or so we're wondering if he should be the next James Bond. But then Davis meets up with his boss, Money, played by Nick Nolte, with an old man's jagged rasp as dramatic as his wry middle-aged intensity used to be. And we notice a fascinating quality just beneath Hemsworth's stoicism. His Davis, with short dark hair and a beard and a glint of dread in his eye, is edgy and preoccupied, maybe even a bit nervous. About what? He's a ruthless operator, but he isn't fully at home in the world, or in his own skin. And it's that quality of barely submerged anxiety that makes this one of Hemsworth's best performances, and keeps the film arrestingly off balance. Davis commits his robberies along the 101 freeway, and never harms anyone. That's his pattern, and it's one that Lou Lupsnick, Mark Ruffalo, a smart LAPD detective, has picked up on. But how to catch him? Ruffalo, doughy and unshaven, with an unfashionable mount of gray-black curls, plays Lou as the last honest cop in LA, and what's notable is the form the corruption around him takes. The LAPD, as the movie portrays it, has become a corporation, and the pressure to close cases is like the pressure to close deals. It leads to solving crimes at any cost. Lou, the old-school knight, with his grizzled irrelevant integrity, is viewed by his colleagues as a loser, a perception we're invited to share when his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer Jason Leigh, dumps him. Halle Berry, meanwhile, plays a winner trapped in the wrong industry. Her Sharon Coombs is a high-end insurance broker who hawks pricey policies to wealthy clients, sugaring her pitch with a hint of seduction. She's been with her firm 11 years, but the old boys network keeps hedging on making her a partner. She has hit the glass ceiling with nowhere to turn, and Berry laces her vibrance with an undertow of anger that ripples into despair. That makes her a ripe partner for Davis, who needs a new source of potential marks, and also Lou, who she gets to know in yoga class. That Sharon is linked to both criminal and cop is one of those only in the movies contrivances you just have to roll with. It's a wobbly link, but Berry makes it emotionally credible. The last major character is Orman, Barry Keoghan, the thug hired by Nolte's money to terrorize his former protege, and to make sure that any robbery ends with the money in the correct pocket, his. Keoghan plays most of his scenes hidden under a motorcycle helmet and biker's jacket, much of the time, You can only see his eyes, and it's a credit to the actor that his personality busts through anyway. It's there in the brutish impatience of his movements. The writer-director, Bart Layton, shoots LA with an expansive feel for its anonymous concrete nooks and crannies, and he takes his time. The movie runs 2 hours and 19 minutes, lingering on scenes like Davis's first date with Maya, a charismatically sunny Monica Barbaro, who he meets when she back-ends his car, or Sharon's encounters at the insurance office, a viper's nest where she's starting to be overshadowed by a younger rival. What makes all of this work is that it's the film's way of coloring in the motivation for crime. Davis, raised as a foster child, is trying to construct an ordered world for himself. That's why he's such a cautious thief, controlled to a fault. He breaks with money over the prospect of a Santa Barbara jewelry store robbery he considers too risky, which doesn't stop the loose cannon Orman from taking on the assignment and making a violent mess of it. If the criminals in Crime 101 are mostly more interesting than their crimes, the climactic robbery that unfolds in a suite of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel delivers the jolt of crazy danger we've been wanting. The scene is a layer cake of deception, with Davis impersonating the driver who has picked up the diamond carrier, and Lou impersonating the carrier. They have a great exchange about Steve McQueen, all building to a shootout designed to reveal the hidden core of every individual in the room. Taken as a thriller, Crime 101 has its indulgences, but by the end it can stand as an advanced course in what underworld dreams are made of. If there's anything I miss in pop culture, it's the presence of ordinary movies. I don't mean blockbusters like Avatar or cultural events like Barbenheimer or Oscar contenders like One Battle After Another. I'm talking about the routine, well-made entertainments that, for nearly a century, used to open in theaters every week. You'd go see them because the story sounded good, or you liked the stars, or you just wanted to enjoy something as part of an audience. I was reminded of how much I'd missed them as I watched Crime 101, a pleasingly rare example of what used to be commonplace. Based on a 2020 novella by the terrific crime novelist Don Winslow, Bart Layton's movie boasts a slate of top-notch stars and puts a nifty, self-conscious spin on the old-fashioned heist picture. Hopscotching through Los Angeles glamour and grit, the action centers on 3 solitary characters, each at a personal Rubicon. Chris Hemsworth plays Davis, a virtuoso jewel thief who pulls off clockwork robberies in neighborhoods along the 101 freeway. A study in terse masculinity, Davis is a Steve McQueen fan. It's worth noting this control freak gets knocked off his bearings by running afoul of his mentor, played by a menacing Nick Nolte, and by getting involved with the charming publicist, Monica Barbaro, who wants him to open up. His nemesis is an honest police detective named Lou, nicely played by Mark Ruffalo. Rumpled and brainy, Lou's got an unhappy wife, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and an unhappy boss who tells him to stop chasing the 101 jewel thief and start padding LAPD arrest stats by closing easier cases. But Lou's obsessed. Both he and Davis wind up crossing paths with Sharon, an excellent Halle Berry, who works selling high-end insurance to rich jerks, one played with fine jerkiness by Tate Donovan. Waiting for a promotion that never comes, Sharon suffers from insomnia. Her sleep app chastises her and seeks refuge in self-affirmation tapes. Now, if you've ever seen a heist movie, you know that the action will inevitably build to a big robbery that brings all the principals together. Crime 101 does this quite deftly and even stirs into the brew a young thug, played by Barry Keoghan in comical blonde hair, whose run-amok emotions make him dangerous. That said, one of the movie's pleasures is that it isn't clogged with action sequences. It's got an old-fashioned interest in character, especially compromised characters, and gestures at darkness rather than diving into it. It glistens with the silver-lined optimism you find in Elmore Leonard. Bart Layton remains one of those weirdly elusive filmmaking voices who would emerge from hiding every 6 to 8 years and drop an absolute banger on the unsuspecting masses. Predominantly a documentarian whose attention had at least partially been on the development of the long-running series Banged Up Abroad, he first emerged with the award-winning, audacious, and logic-bending doc The Imposter in 2012. He then came back in 2018 with American Animals, an outstanding postmodernist docudrama about a book heist that hybridized somewhere in between Reservoir Dogs and Fight Club, and arguably one of the most intriguing movies of its year. And now he is back with Crime 101. This is Layton's at his most mainstream and straightforward. But make no mistake, the movie still cooks on all burners. Based on a novella by Don Winslow, also known for Savages, Crime 101 is, at least on paper, a rather typical crime affair. A high-class thief, Chris Hemsworth, looking for a way out of his trade, a grizzled cop, Mark Ruffalo, hoping to catch a break, a burnt-out insurance executive, Halle Berry, going through a midlife identity crisis. Anyone who has ever watched a handful of gangster dramas or cop procedurals, or at least read a few paperbacks in this vein, will be able to tell more or less how this story is going to shake down. It's all broad strokes. All archetypes, baby. The thief cooks up his walkaway gig, the cop is closing in on him, and that insurance executive becomes an unwitting accomplice, while an agent of chaos, Barry Keoghan, enters the fray at the orders of a grim-looking mafia boss played by Nick Nolte. But as I remarked above, the magic of Crime 101 isn't in the what of it all but in the how, because the movie eschews its formulaic narrative origins. Not by way of reinventing the format of that cat and mouse procedural, but rather by way of injecting adrenaline into the movie's cardiovascular system, and crucially by borrowing a page or two from one of the masters of the genre, Michael Mann himself. In fact, the filmmaker does not even attempt to disguise his motives here, and wears his infatuation with Mann right on his sleeve, as the movie looks and feels quite a bit like a love letter to at least two of Mann's seminal masterpieces, Thief and Heat, somehow coaxed to coexist under one roof for the 140 minutes that it takes for Crime 101 to run its course. A keen observer will most assuredly be able to pick out specific character tropes, motifs, and ideas plucked out of Mann's masterful crime movies, from the central idea of a thief who is the best at the game trying to get out of his trade and well-researched procedurality of events, all the way to that battle of wills we remember from looking at Vincent Hanna and Nick McCauley in Heat, not to mention some smaller points like the love interest and that fundamental concept of not becoming attached to anything you can't walk away from in 30 seconds flat. Consequently, Layton stages a highly polished mainstream cops and robbers action thriller that, while unable to come close to the level of Mann's masterpieces, because frankly no movie ever could, will remind you how much fun it is to watch a movie that owns its inspirations, pays due homage to its overlords. It is definitely not a coincidence that Keoghan's character looks and sounds like Ryan Gosling in The Place Beyond the Pines, and crafts a blood-curdling action spectacle. Filled with exhilarating car chases evocative of both Mann, Frankenheimer, and Friedkin, suspenseful cat and mouse sequences, and intricate set pieces with many moving parts that also happen to be firmly grounded in that Mann-esque realism, as opposed to aspiring to high-class escapism in the vein of Mission Impossible movies. Crime 101 is a well-engineered blockbuster that knows which gods it prays to and, most importantly, has a very good idea about what used to make great action movies: depth and believability of its characters delivered without overwhelming the viewer with superfluous exposition. It's impossible not to care about the spectacle, because Layton makes us feel invested in the pursuits of all three of the film's leads to such an extent that when that final climax comes, we don't even know whose corner we want to be in. We want all three of those people to get what they want, and that's also by design, I believe. This is because underneath the blood-pumping chases and elaborate heist sequences, Crime 101 has a few things to say that also, once again, crucially remain in conversation with the characters. This is no mere crime thriller about good guys and bad guys, nor is it one where the bad guys are somehow good because of the tenacity of their character. Driven internally by the much-explored themes relating to class division and wealth inequality in America, Layton uses the template of an action film to draw attention to the dire state of the world. He lingers and comments on unhoused encampments LA is peppered with, and turns the entire affair into a de facto spiritual continuation of the Robin Hood myth. He makes us want for the thief to get away with it because of who he steals from, just as he makes us root for the cop whose own position at work is in peril because his values are not in sync with the corrupted ethos of other people in the force. Finally, he puts us in a position where we'd like to see Halle Berry's character come out on top and for her disgraceful employers to get their comeuppance. Crime 101 is as much a cop versus robber film as it is a poor versus rich or a powerful versus powerless. And to be perfectly honest, it's always incredibly pleasurable to witness a movie that is as well engineered as this one and also full of metatextual content to chew on, where action scenes evoke man's iconic kineticism, where characters mean what they say and say what they mean, and where a spectacle adds up to way more than the plot and story structure technically allow. Once again, Bart Layton has come out of hibernation and delivered a slick and incredibly accomplished movie. Mainstream and conventional as it is upon first glance, Crime 101 is definitely an early 2026 standout and a beautiful love letter to one of the masters of the genre. There's a throwback quality to writer-director Bart Layton's Crime 101 that you start to notice in its earliest moments. It's hard to avoid comparisons to Michael Mann classics like Thief and Heat or William Friedkin's To Live and Die in El-Dadaib. You can even see the DNA of some of the great paranoia thrillers of the 1970s. Layton's movie may not reach those lofty heights, but you can feel the pulse of those crime genre gems racing all through his latest. Crime 101 is based on a 2020 novella by crime novelist Don Winslow. It follows a Los Angeles jewel thief named Mike, Chris Hemsworth, who has successfully executed a string of high-end heists along the busy 101 freeway. After every completed robbery, Mike turns over the haul to his fence, Nick Nolte, who finds a buyer before helping Mike organize his next job. Much like De Niro's Neil McCauley from Heat, Mike keeps a low profile and intentionally has no personal attachments. And when working, he operates by a very strict set of rules. It's what has made him a seasoned professional. But also like Neil, Mike breaks his own rules when he becomes involved with a charming young woman, wonderfully played here by Monica Barbaro, who has him second-guessing the life he lives. Staying with the Heat similarities, Mark is furiously pursued by a police detective Lou Lupsnick, Mark Ruffalo, who instantly calls back to Al Pacino's Vincent Hanna. Like Vincent, Lou's fixation with his job has wrecked his home life. But he's a good cop, and he's hell-bent on learning Mike's identity and stopping his crime spree, no matter how much his lone wolf obsession puts him at odds with his department. But Layton tosses in several key characters of his own who add some interesting layers to his story. Tops among them is Sharon Combs, Halle Berry, a broker for a prominent insurance company who finds herself stuck in a VP position while her colleagues are being made partners. Then there's Orman, Barry Keoghan, a violently unhinged dirt bike riding ruffian who begins stepping in on Mike's action. Both end up playing significant roles in Layton crime movie web. As its name so clearly implies, Crime 101 is a straightforward crime thriller, the kind we don't get as often as we used to. And much like those past crime thrillers, it's stringently character-driven. Yet despite their similarities, Crime 101 is no copy and paste of Heat. It takes its characters in its own distinct directions. It also dabbles in a range of themes involving class, corruption, greed, wealth gaps, childhood trauma, workplace inequality, etc. Not every character thread or thematic interest gets the time it needs, but it does open up some compelling paths for Layton to explore. Layton's script finds a healthy balance between action, drama, and suspense. He confidently crafts a compelling story that sustains tension on its way to an inevitable big finish. It has a few too many moving parts, but, for the most part, Layton keeps them corralled and working in unison. And it doesn't hurt to have such a talent-rich cast that includes 6 Academy Award nominees. A grounded and restrained Hemsworth gives one his best performances while Barry, Ruffalo, Barbaro, and Keoghan are perfect fits for their roles. Crime 101 is a sleek, impeccably crafted, and thoroughly entertaining heist thriller that proudly embraces its ancestors while feeling surprisingly fresh at the same time. The action is exhilarating, characters are given plenty of room to bloom, and Los Angeles is brilliantly rendered through DP Eric Wilson's evocative lensing. But it's the script that anchors it all, with its high stakes, gripping suspense, and moral quandaries that push the story into some unexpected territory. Bart Layton is the British filmmaker who previously gave us American Animals, a true crime docudrama about the theft of rare books. That film's title would also have applied perfectly well to this new one, an LA crime thriller adapted from a novella by Don Winslow. It is a little in the style of Michael Mann, though without the military hardware and the overhead shots of SUVs moving in swift convoy that would make it a full man homage. Layton does without the distinctive indirect mannerisms and meta-commentaries of his earlier movies, but he applies his pedal to the metal for what is an enjoyable and very stylish high-stakes armed robbery film about a thief who is highly controlled, super cool, super groomed, and naturally looking for the walkaway money of the time-honored one last job. This is Mike, played by Chris Hemsworth, who with his sleek black performance cars and Glock handguns, commits jewel robberies with the laudably nonviolent precision of a ballet dancing brain surgeon. He is controlled by a leathery old tough guy called Money, Nick Nolte, who once upon a time mentored Mike out of foster care and into crime. But Mike's hits are all along California's Route 101, a pattern spotted by LAPD's single honest cop, Detective Lou Loopsnick, Mark Ruffalo, as disheveled and smart as Columbo. When things go horribly wrong, Mike develops qualms about the whole business, and Money looks like replacing him with Orman, Barry Keoghan, an undisciplined, trigger-happy youngster who rides a flashy, attention-attracting motorbike, uncool, and has dyed blonde hair, also uncool. Everything comes to a crisis point when Mike induces troubled insurance agent Sharon, Halle Berry, to give him inside info for a hugely lucrative job that he figures he can set up on his own. Meanwhile, he can't bring himself to tell his girlfriend Maya, Monica Barbaro, what he does for a living. This is a movie that revs the engine entertainingly and loudly, though it is less convincing when it claims the moral high ground of social comment by perfunctorily showing us LA's homeless. At one stage, Ruffalo's detective rides on a city bus crowded with the city's low-net-worth individuals. What? No Uber. But overall, it is a highly watchable spectacle, leaving a sizzling streak of rubber on the tarmac. Embracing cliché and archetypes, Bart Layton's Crime 101 ultimately succeeds thanks to its old-school, familiar charms. Layton's star-studded flick, adapted from the novella by Don Winslow, feels like the type of crime thriller we used to take for granted, back when Hollywood wasn't obsessed with churning out Netflix slop and overly familiar IP tailor-made for babies. I want to be clear, Crime 101 is not some future classic, and it lacks the serious edge of the films it's drawing inspiration from, Michael Mann's Immortal Heat being the prime example. But the cast is skilled, the action is engrossing, and up until the final 10 or so minutes that overstay their welcome, the film moves at just the right speed. Crime 101 doesn't reinvent the wheel, and it doesn't have to. It just has to be a good time at the movies. And it is. While that title might make you think this is a film about a criminal giving a course at a community college, the 101 in Crime 101 actually refers to the 101 freeway in Los Angeles, the stomping grounds of Mike Davis, one of the most noble thieves to ever grace the silver screen. Played by handsome hunk Chris Hemsworth, Mike makes his living stealing things of considerable value, but he seems to go out of his way to target wealthy individuals who aren't exactly on the level, and makes sure to never, ever hurt anyone, even though he does point a loaded gun in people's faces. Hemsworth plays Mike as a shy, awkward professional. He hires high-class sex workers who ask him if he's okay making eye contact, and he has seemingly no friends or family. He also lives in a sparse oceanfront apartment that looks identical to the one Robert De Niro occupied in Heat, so filmmaker Layton isn't exactly being subtle with his nods and references. Later in the film, characters go ahead and start talking about Steve McQueen movies, including Bullet and The Thomas Crown Affair. Hemsworth has played this sort of guy before, but he's quite likable here. I bought his Criminal with a Heart of Gold performance and found myself rooting for him. Mike isn't greedy and he isn't overtly violent, he just wants to make enough money so he can live without any worries, and who among us can't relate to that? While Mike is our introduction into the story, Crime 101 branches out to give us a host of local characters, all of whom end up connecting one way or another. There's Halle Berry as Sharon Colvin, an insurance broker for a firm that handles obscenely wealthy clients. Sharon has been at the same job for 11 years and keeps being told her bosses will make her a partner, but now in her 50s, she's starting to get the sneaking suspicion that she's been strung along all this time. Mark Ruffalo is Detective Lou Lupsnick, a schlubby, worn-out cop who seems to be the only one who realizes Mike's crimes are all connected. And Barry Keoghan plays Orman, another thief who rides a dirt bike and has no issues hurting people. Barry's Sharon feels like the only character with multiple dimensions, and she's saddled with some clunky dialogue but manages to make it work. Ruffalo can play this kind of rumpled cop in his sleep. See David Fincher's best movie, Zodiac, and the recent Mayor of Easttown adjacent Task, but he's such a skilled performer that we're happy to go along with him one more time. Keoghan's dirt bike dirtbag has almost no depth to him, but some fun costume design, lots of pinks and bright colors, mixed with bleached hair and the actor's choice to play his villainous character as a whiny, violent brat make him memorable. There are also a gaggle of ancillary characters, all of whom feel thinly sketched, lurking on the film's periphery. Corey Hawkins plays Lou's partner, who just sort of vanishes from the story. The great Jennifer Jason Leigh is wasted in one quick scene as Lou's wife. Come on, people, can we give Jennifer Jason Leigh more to do, please? Old pro Nick Nolte, his voice sounding like he's choking on every word he spits out, makes the most of his small part as Mike's conniving handler. And Monica Barbaro, so enchanting as Joan Baez in A Complete Unknown, is Maya, whom Mike finds himself falling for after a meet-cute in which their cars literally bump into each other. Of this secondary group, Barbaro fares the best, which is a testament to her talents because Maya is such an underwhelming character in the end. She's here merely to pop up in Mike's life and ask him questions about his mysterious past while looking great, but Barbaro brings such a charming, feisty spark to her scenes that she effectively tricks you into thinking Maya is more interesting than she ultimately is. I particularly like the scene where she and Hemsworth awkwardly slow dance to Bruce Springsteen's live cover of Tom Waits' Jersey Girl. After setting these characters in motion, Crime 101 moves at a clip pace as Mike goes about putting together one of those fabled last jobs that criminals in these sorts of movies are always about to pull. Needless to say, complications keep arising, threatening to unravel Mike's carefully crafted plans. This leads to a series of action beats, including a well-staged chase scene where Mike drives his classic car after Orman's dirt bike, the vehicle swerving in and out of traffic at dangerous, breakneck speeds. Layton and cinematographer Eric Wilson are also fond of flipping the camera upside down for eerie establishing shots of LA at night, all of this set to an ominous, thrumming score by Blank Mass. I've grown so accustomed to high concept and post-irony that I kept expecting Crime 101 to suddenly switch things up for a silly twist, but the film unfolds at a refreshingly predictable rate. Predictability may not seem fresh, but there's something comforting about watching a crime thriller that's content to deliver a straightforward story without too many bells and whistles. I was pretty much on board from the jump, although the film makes a big miscalculation by giving us a scene that should be the end, only for things to lumber on for another 10 unnecessary minutes meant to wrap everything up in a far too neat package. Crime 101 is the type of sturdy, beginning-of-the-year programmer we don't get much of anymore. It's slick, solid, and filled to the brim with talented actors digging in and making the most of a not entirely nutritious meal. I like the stripped-down, no-frills approach Layton takes to the material, and I like the little quirks like how Hemsworth's Mike seems completely socially inept in everyday life, but becomes charming and smooth when he's working. I don't think anyone is going to fondly remember Crime 101 the way they remember Heat, but that's okay. like Hemsworth's noble thief, it gets the job done. The 101 in Crime 101 is not a class of academia. It refers to a major highway that runs north-south along the Pacific Ocean. Highway 101 is a concrete ventricle that hits most of the major tourist traps in California, Santa Barbara, San Jose, San Francisco, Los Angeles. For Mike Davis, Chris Hemsworth, the 101 isn't a trap. It's an escape route. Don Winslow is an author who has delivered many crime stories over the decades. Some revolve around dirty cops, criminals, or the war on drugs. His Order trilogy is a panoramic view that makes Sicario looks like a Polaroid picture in comparison. Crime 101 is based on his short novella about a master thief and a wearied cop that has been pursuing him for years. Writer-director Bart Layton, who hasn't made a narrative feature in 8 years, the underseen caper American Animals, gives audiences something familiar and sorely needed, a picture for grown-ups with movie stars being movie stars. The one thing it's not, though, is a reheated version of Michael Mann's Heat. I don't like the comparison. Just because the setting is LA and involves a cat and mouse game involving a criminal and a cop does not make it Heat. You're telling me the City of Angels isn't big enough to have more than one master thief trying to navigate his personal and professional life and avoid capture? Crime 101 has more in common with Mann's Thief and the Thomas Crown Affair if you ask me. Throw in a car chase that would raise William Friedkin from the grave, shooting on location along the 101 and soaking in the dark ambience of the night, and the film noir staple of alienation with a conflicted protagonist who wants to get out while the getting is good, and you have the makings of sleek and sweeping crime thriller. The film is much like the 101. Characters travel along the same interstate. Sometimes going the same direction, sometimes going the opposite. Sometimes stuck and looking for the nearest exit. Chief among them is Davis, our meticulous thief with a code he follows to stay safe and not get caught. Lieutenant Ronald Lou Lupsnick, Mark Ruffalo, has been working robbery homicide since the Bush administration, that's W, and his dogged pursuit in catching Davis, who he believes is responsible for a string of robberies up and down the 101, has strained both his partner, Corey Hawkins, and the rank and file of LA's finest. Then there's the outlier, Sharon Halle Berry, an insurance broker whose company handles high-profile clients and is responsible for paying out settlements to the people Davis has stolen from. At the start, a calming voice is telling us to relax. It is the witching hour on the 101 and a sea of white and red lights are visible in both directions. The camera tilts and slowly tracks over the highway before we get our first glimpse of Davis right before he leaves his Spartan apartment to conduct a snatch and grab of pricey jewels in transport. The job doesn't go accordingly, and he tells his fence, aptly named Money, played by Nick Nolte, that he wants to aboard the next high-end robbery he has already cased. Of course, this doesn't please Money and he brings in Orman, Barry Keoghan, the reigning MVP of the Slimy Weasel, a spiky, bleach blonde thief with a bad temper. In the realm of professional football this would be the equivalent of Tom Brady coming in to replace Drew Bledsoe. But Orman is no Tom Brady, just a twitchy stick-up man on a motorcycle with a devil-may-care attitude. Unlike Davis, who is risk-averse and plans his job so nobody gets hurt. Right before Sharon can reel in a big fish client with deep pockets, she gets put on assignment by her insurance firm to determine if one of their jeweler clients was indeed robbed or if it was an inside job. Lou also has the same questions, though his gut tells him it is the guy he has been obsessing over for years. One highway, one crime, and 3 characters with personal and professional concerns. What is most striking about Crime 101 is how these 3 characters see themselves at the jump and slowly change as opportunity knocks in the form of a jewel and cash money heist worth upwards of $11 million. Lou as the blue-collar yeoman, a squinty-eyed idealist with a protruding waistline in an office of coasters, not causing waves, flatfoots, and amoral stiffs in suits. Sharon as the aging claims adjuster that has been working with the same firm for 11 years and not been made a partner. Her introduction is one of restless nights and listless mornings. Sharon's makeup ritual can only do so much in hiding contempt of a workplace that has devalued her worth. Finally, Davis, alone, and elusive and not good with people, is suddenly smitten with Monica Barbaro's Maya. Can you blame him? After a small fender-bender meet cute. His personal interactions recall Ryan Gosling's Driver starting to humanize in Drive, another cinematic inspiration for Crime 101. I'm sure. While I don't think Layton needs such bread to expand Winslow's 60-page novella, he adheres to the material better than those who have previously tried translating the author's works to screen. The characters are what interest him most, not the criminal enterprise. Layton also graciously sidesteps the need to explain things to the audience. Though he does impress upon us a sense of just morality, the end game only hurts those who already have more than enough. In the novella, actor Steve McQueen's name is mentioned a few times. McQueen was the king of cool when it came to movie stars. The energy he exudes was a quiet confidence, a California breeze. As Winslow writes in Crime 101, if the 101 were an actor, it would be Steve McQueen. Mike Davis may be a phantom on the highway, but away from the road he's not unlike McQueen, who had a troubled upbringing, including spending his teenage years at an all-boys reform school. I bring this up because Chris Hemsworth approaches his character much like McQueen would perform on screen. Very taciturn and expressionless, but an intimidating presence. Here's the thing. Michael Mann's crime films are the template and have inspired legions of filmmakers. Bart Layton is not doing a reheat of Heat with Crime 101. He gives us characters trying to get out of a fugue state. For some it's a change of scenery, or a new car, or a new beginning. If you remember anything with this review, remember this. When confronted with a difficult situation, ask yourself, WWSMD, the action genre isn't usually my cup of tea. It's not that I necessarily think the cinematic aspects of those movies are bad, it's just that I like movies with compelling stories, and that isn't generally the primary concern of the action film. So when an action thriller like Bart Layton's Crime 101 comes out, combining solid action set pieces with an interesting story, it absolutely catches my attention. There are essentially three stories going on in Crime 101. We have Davis, Chris Hemsworth, a thief whose MO is to steal only from the ultra-wealthy. He commits his crimes on the LA 101 freeway, meticulously plans everything so he leaves no trace, and never hurts anyone. He tries to date Maya, Monica Barbaro, but is closed off in a way that makes it hard for him to form connections. We also have Sharon, Halle Berry. She works as an insurance broker, dealing with those same ultra-wealthy clients. Despite working for her firm for 11 years, she is still unable to move up the ranks to partner, leaving her feeling disillusioned as she searches for some kind of happiness. Finally, we have Lou, Mark Ruffalo, a detective with the LAPD, who is the only one able to see the pattern that Davis is following. His personal life is a shambles, and professionally, he is a laughingstock for believing that he has a beat on the culprit. Tying them all together is Orman, Barry Keoghan, a loose cannon who sees himself as the successor to Davis, working with their mutual boss, Money, Nick Nolte. While there is nothing particularly unique about the structure of Crime 101, Layton artfully weaves the stories together in a satisfying way so that even the familiar feels reinvented. It is no small task to make a movie that very much feels like it contains the DNA of Heat, while also retaining enough originality to avoid feeling like a complete rip-off. But somehow that's what this movie does. Layton's previous film, American Animals, was based on a true story heist movie, and this one feels like an elevation of the work he did there. The performances are roundly solid. Because of the nature of the character he's playing, Hemsworth feels a bit flat in this, which is disappointing. But Barry manages to steal every scene she's in. Ruffalo is wonderful as the measured, principled cop, and Keoghan is perfectly unhinged. These roles are all typical crime movie archetypes. but the characters are fleshed out just enough to make them interesting without making the movie grind to a halt to give that backstory. Somehow, a movie that is 2 hours and 20 minutes manages not to feel logy. A few decades ago, this was the kind of movie that we saw regularly in the cinema. Now, a lot of action movies are background noise to the minutiae of our daily lives. Crime 101 might feel a little bit like a throwback, but I mean that with all of the affection I can muster. At first, Crime 101 looked like a very standard crime thriller with a recognizable cast. However, hearing that it's from the director of American Animals got me curious about it and ultimately was what made me decide to check it out in cinemas. It turned out to be pretty good, and well worth checking out. Crime 101 is very reminiscent of other LA set crime thrillers, especially those directed by Michael Mann, such as Heat, and as such, contains many of those films' familiar tropes and aspects. Personally though, I didn't find it to be that derivative, and it did just enough for it to stand on its own. It focused on each of the main characters, mainly Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, and Halle Berry, and how they eventually their lives intersect with one another, and I found it pretty engaging throughout. That said, it is a tad over long at 2 hours and 20 minutes in length, and there were some unresolved conflicts and plot threads that weren't tied up by the end of the story. The ensemble cast are great and the film really utilizes them well. Chris Hemsworth delivers one of his more interesting performances. His character isn't just a purely charismatic professional thief as you'd expect him to be, he's far more socially awkward and out of his depth in most situations, and Hemsworth plays this well, even if it does require some suspension of disbelief. Mark Ruffalo is ever reliable as the obsessed cop, Halle Berry is a highlight, and Keoghan is really good in an unhinged and wild card role. As Hemsworth's love interest, Monica Barbaro acts well in a thinly written part, and Corey Hawkins and Nick Nolte are also solid. Bart Layton's direction is really slick and stylish. The few action sequences, mainly involving cars, are thrilling, with top-notch camera work, editing and sound. The pulsing and vibrant soundtrack from Benjamin John Power also adds a lot and raises the high tension in the right moments. This film, directed by Bart Layton, screenplay by Bart Layton, based on Crime 101, produced by Tim Bevan, starring Chris Hemsworth, cinematography Eric Wilson, edited by Jacob Sicher, music by Blank Mass, production companies Working Title Films, distributed by Amazon MGM Studios, release dates January 28, 2026, running time 140 minutes, countries United Kingdom, language English, budget $90 million, box office $72.8 million. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing movie stories. Thank you for watching.